can be whatever
You
time
never
you
know.
want.
We don't keep clocks on the wall, no windows. You don't know what time.
Exactly. Have you done this play before?
I did the show in New York for a year.
Ah.
That was 3 years ago. And then Steve gave me a call, and Phil, our producer, and they said, you want to go to Toronto and do the show up there? And I said, I have never performed in Toronto.
Really?
I've been there. I love the city. How cool would that be? And it was perfect timing for what I was doing. So I said, yeah, let's do it.
Well, you came here for our Occupy Toronto, so...
Yes, I thought they were coming here to see me.
Yeah, maybe we get...
No, I don't want to make fun of them. I
we
appreciate
could go
it.
hang out and give them discounted tickets.
Yeah, we're going to go through the crowd and give them, we're going to paper the house with Occupy Toronto.
But people, if they could see you right now, if they go to your website or go to a website or Google you or whatever, we would recognize you from a whole bunch of different television appearances.
Depending on how old you are, it kind of goes back.
From It's a Living, Love Boat, ER, and Jackie's Dad on the 70s show.
Yeah, some teenagers came up to me the other night. They went, "Mr. Burkhart." That's the name of Jackie's dad. Yeah. So yeah, Mila Kunis's dad.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Which meant that I was married to Brooke Shields. You know, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Well, we're not together anymore. They sent me to jail, actually.
Damn.
I did 3 shows. I went to the Christmas party. I stepped on the producer's foot when I was dancing with her, and that was, then they sent me to jail.
Oh, this ain't your character?
Yeah. I don't think it had anything to do with stepping on their foot.
What was the premise for that? Like, what did you do that landed you in jail?
Character,
I should say.
He was the rich man in town who was very involved in politics and was very corrupt. And, it was because of him that we're doing Occupy Toronto right now.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
It takes a while for these things to catch up. That was supposed to be in the 70s.
See the way it all ties in? Mm-hmm. Show business has a great way to do that. So talk a little bit to us about this play. It's a great title right off the top. It's a fun title. It's a grabber because you're thinking, even if I'm not I'm not Italian, I'm not Jewish. This works with pretty much any ethnic group.
Yeah, at least you're in therapy. Isn't everybody in therapy?
If not, they should be.
Actually, the ones who aren't
in therapy.
Actually, I think they all are. All therapists need it. It really is for everybody. It's a laugh fest. Steve is a stand-up comic. He wrote a show based on his family members to create a bit of a little theater piece that would just, it's one joke after another, and because that's his mindset. And he had been the only one who had ever done it, and he wasn't sure anybody could do it. And then they brought me in, and all of a sudden he became a playwright. It went from being a stand-up doing a one-person show to being a playwright where he thought other people could do it.
Is that a little intimidating actors are always doing somebody else's work, not always, but for the majority of the time somebody else's work, but not somebody who's done it themselves.
And who's only done it themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah, so at first it was not easy for either of us, quite honestly, and we'll both be the first to admit that, but we were friends by the time I did it, and by the time I had met him right before that. And so we were always very honest with each other, and we would say, I've never had anybody else say the things that I say before, and I want it to be said a certain way, and I'd say, I think that the stuff is funny enough that I will make it work my own way. And so I needed to prove that to him, and he needed to be able to relax, and as soon as he saw it in front of an audience, he said, wow, it can work.
Because, as you well know, dealing with comedians, they're a little insecure.
You know what they say, there's a reason they work alone. I have nothing against comedians. I have great friends who are comedians, and we always have a great time. I actually wanted to be one when I first was growing up.
Stand-up?
Well, I grew up in the Catskills in New York, and so on the weekends, the family would go all of the great resorts, and I'd see all the great comics. I thought that jokes were all told in English with a Yiddish punchline. Because that's the way all the jokes were, and then the people would laugh, and I'd be laughing too, and I didn't even know what they said. So you learn that it's all about the timing.
Yeah, the Variety says the production is a little Alan King, a pinch of Seinfeld. Little Alan King here, a pinch of Seinfeld there, with a smidgen of Don Rickles, Billy Crystal, and George Carlin thrown in.
That's pretty decent, isn't it?
Yeah.
All greats.
Yeah, I think.
Well, and it is. It's very stand-up-y. I don't think that there's any denying that, because that's the character. So you view his family the way he would tell a joke. But he does tell a bit of a story about his life and his family, being half Jewish and half Italian. And so, when his mother talks, she's from Italy, and she talks like this. And his father's from Russia, and he talks, So, and there are about 30 characters in the show, and they're talking to each other, and they're talking to me, and I'm bouncing around, and it's,
But it's
2
a
hours.
one-man show.
It's a one-man show.
And it's like a 90-minute show?
It's me. With an intermission, it's about an hour 50, I guess, with the intermission, hour 45, hour 50.
Wow. I mean, I'm thinking, if you're doing stand-up comedy and you're out there for that length of time, and you blow a lead into a joke, only you know that. When you're doing something that has been scripted for you, there are more people who are cognizant of it's not going where it should go, including yourself. And you can't just decide, oh, you know what, I'm going to talk about something completely different.
No. I've got a show that I have to do. But, one joke ends and then you get the next one. Last night, right before a punchline, talk about live theater, the button on my jacket popped off, flew across the stage and landed very loudly on the wood floor, and the whole audience is kind of hearing this clinkety clink, and I heard somebody said, he popped his button, right before the punchline. So I went over, I picked up this small gold thing, and I said, your currency, I don't know if this is a dime or a token or what.
Yeah, and
so you got to keep it live.
The modern day curse of live theater, or any live performance at all, of course, is the cell phone. You tell people, always shut your cell phone off, but inevitably somebody's cell phone goes off.
Do you know that this week it has not happened yet? And I know it will. It'll probably happen today. I got 2 shows today, so now that we're talking about it, I'll get cell phones.
I know.
But I'm ready for them. I've grabbed cell phones out of the audience. I use one in the show, so it allows me to say things about cell phones.
Now, do you have a line or two prepared where if a cell phone? Well, see, now you can't even do that because depending on where it happens during the course of the show, it may or may not fit.
There's a couple of places where I hope it doesn't happen. There's a couple of sweet, poignant moments.
Yeah.
But for the most part, there's really no fourth wall. In this show, and we're not doing Ibsen. I'm looking right at the audience, and I'm telling them about the crazies in my family.
There you go. That's the next review. We're not doing Ibsen here. Paul Kreppel.
Add that to the list.
It's
George Carlin, it's not Ibsen.
Exactly. They play the one-man show is called My Mother's Italian, My Father's Jewish, and I'm in Therapy.
That's right.
Bathurst Street Theater. That's where it is. And you said that there's a show Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 2 Saturdays?
2 Saturday, 2 Sunday, 2 Wednesday.
Good Lord, man.
I'm cramming them in there.
Well, you might take a nap. We'll be right back. 12:15 at News Talk 1010. Time saver traffic right now.
Problems on the 401 Eastman in the Express.